stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
We wasn't chasing you, we had a taping too. We came through to do our 1-2 thing. Politics as usual.
Slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of the emptiness, hilarious. You think you're worth my time, you're delirious, mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior, inferior. You know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off.
I see what it is. It's our Low Vox in the building. Oh man. So you know this one's gonna be a classic, man. Oh man, we here. This is what we do, man. This is what it is, man. It's a little kid.
Dog.
Know what I'm saying? Word up, you know what I mean? Finally got the kid in here, man. You know what I mean? Low Vox. Y'all been hearing it, man. Y'all seen it. All in the beginning when we first started doing Politics as Usual, the intro and all that. It was on that rockin' low, you know what I mean? You know, it was on that Low Vox tip. We was bringing Low Vox in from the beginning. Low Vox been rocking it. You know what I mean? We've been rocking with Low Vox. Y'all know what it is, man. Yo, listen, man.
The first show to put me on. Nobody else, you know, gave me the shot. Dog said, yo, I got an idea and we need to get this out. And, you know, Big Boo, shout out to Big Boo and Chip Low. There were a lot of people that, you know, and Ski, you know, who were monumental, and Doc and them, and Politics as Usual, and the Session TV was definitely the first to jump on and say, yo, we gonna help push you, kid.
Listen, man, we just show support, man. That's all it's about, showing love and loyalty and support, especially the people that's coming up, because we can't rhyme, we can't rap, and we can't do our thing, but so we know the brothers that's coming up and the brothers that's here, you know what? Let's push them, let's help them, let's keep, you know what I mean, motivating that young blood, pushing that young blood, you know what I mean, because we got the other brothers that's in the game that was, you know what I mean, rapping. We had the Thirstons, we had the Racks and all that, you know what I mean? But there's also younger cats that's in the game, that's in the culture, that come up, that's doing their thing, that can use that same support and that same backing from us, you know what I mean? So, you know, that's what this was, you know, like I said, this channel's about, and that's what we do over here, is basically show love and show support to the brothers and stuff that's out here in the movement doing something, especially if you're bringing something to it. That's what it's about. Bringing something to the table, not just trying to come in and just
wear clothes and bring back the past all the time.
And be picture taking and get into that area of it. You come into the game, you bringing something to the table. You know what I mean?
Helping us expand our market, expand us to other people. We need that.
We need that, and that's basically what it's about. Just making sure we grow and make sure we, you know, we do what we're supposed to do as a cultural movement, and not just be stagnated with just certain things. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now we gotta elevate, and the only way you elevate and you grow is by planting new seeds, and new seeds growing and they blossoming. And that's what we here to do, and show support to the brothers that's doing that, and you know, holding it down on that type of level. But yeah, man, you know what it is, man. This Politics Usual on the Session TV.
That's
you know, Lifa the God.
Shout out to Lifa. That's right. You know what I'm saying?
You know, Lifa the God ain't here right now. You know what I'm saying? He had to work and whatnot, but you know,
he's gonna be here for part 2.
Yeah. You know, it's gonna be a part 2.
He better.
You know, we're gonna have Low Vox back. You know what I mean? You know, because he always dropping music. So you know, when he come back through, when he drop that next track or that next mixtape CD, he gonna come back on the show, and we gonna all sit down and have the bill. But you know, shout out the life of the guard, you know what I mean?
Lifa.
You know, see how work, get that money, man. We need that. You'll bring that back home, okay? I need some ones. I need some new low, some new pieces. You know, that new teddy bear just dropped. The new rugby.
All right.
You know what I mean?
November. All right, yup.
Come on. But yeah, but we here, man. We doing our 1-2 and stuff. But Low Vox, man. So yo, I mean, let's start. I mean, basically from the beginning. I mean, Low Vox. You know what I mean? Where that name come from, Low Vox?
Oh, great question. Well, my government name is ULL. So it's so ironic, it's so unique that, you know, I picked up with a crew that rock low. And my government name is Lowell. You know, it's an Irish name, so it's also pronounced Lowell. You know, when you around, you know, other people in the corporate area, it's like that. But no matter what, if you say it, it's low. So, you know, I got the name from always rapping, always rhyming, and being like a radio. And if you notice, back in the days, one of the main radios you'd always see is a Magnavox. People don't see that no more.
No, you don't see those.
So that's how I tell you how long my name comes from. You know what I'm saying? So not the Magnavox, but the Low Vox, the radio, and Vox means voice. So you put it together, Low, who's me. That's my way I rock low. And Low's what? Low's voice, Low Vox. And then you know, I add the sharp because you have to have something to differentiate me from anybody else. There's always a box low. There's a Vox low from back in the days. You know what I'm saying? There's Fox low from back in the days. Has his brother.
Yeah. So you just wanted to get it.
Low
I
Vox,
guess Low Vox. Well, I mean, but Low Vox, you know, that's definitely different. Ain't
Definitely
Vox.
Russian
you know, unless it was a, you know what I mean, you know, one of them Transformer dudes trying to be, you know, Vox. You know, it's like, you know, Low, then you go Vox. You know, I just say you won't, you know, Fox and Vox, but you know, you do definitely put it together right on that one and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? Yeah, that name, man, that name definitely is definitely different and unique and stuff like that. When you think about Low Vox, Vox, you know what I mean? So you definitely was creative with that and bringing that to the table and whatnot. So that's definitely a creative look. So, but growing up, where you from? Where you from?
Right, my parents, my whole family is from the West Indies. I'm Trini.
Trini.
Yeah, so that's why. Next thing too, you know, the Flatbush in me, you know what I'm saying? I got that background, you know me. Shout out to Prance. We got a bunch of Trinis down with the squad, you know. Slow. You know, so from Flatbush, Trini is the background.
Trini, I mean Brooklyn, the whole it's definitely a. When they say a gumbo, Brooklyn is definitely a gumbo.
Facts, the melting pot for real.
Word, because there's so many cultures in Brooklyn, man. We got everything in Brooklyn. You got, you know, you got Jews in Brooklyn. You got the Jewish community in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? You got the, Caribbean culture in Brooklyn.
That's right.
And then you got, you know, the African American culture in Brooklyn. That's, you know, basically the Southern that done came over and migrated down in Brooklyn.
Right.
Then you got the Asian community in Brooklyn. You know, then you sit there, you could start switching over to, you got some of the Russians and the Italians. You got the Italians.
Italians big. Italians is big.
You know what I'm saying? You got the Italians out there. So and then, you know, whoever, I mean, it's definitely a lot of cultures out there in Brooklyn. And at some point, we always mix and mingle when you go to the city, when you're going out and you out eating and stuff. You always mix and mingle with it. It's never really a segregated area when you're going out. But man, you know what I'm saying? You gotta love Brooklyn. Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. But you being from Brooklyn, but what, I mean, exactly what streets you came up on? Man?
Right. Well, I was born and raised on New York Avenue between Beverly and Tilden, and when I migrated and started getting into the game, I was blessed that I didn't have to just stay down in the bush. So I migrated to one of my cousins who was staying in Crown Heights. Another Trini. Shout out to my cousin Rude Boy Dex. My cousin Kurt said, yo, you gonna have to make it in this music business. You gonna have to spread your wings. You gotta get out here and get in these streets. Crown Heights in those days, in the early 90s, was popping because of the skate rink on Empire.
Come on,
right?
Empire's
EF, you know, and because of, you know, Esquire Hall, which turned into Golden Pavilion, happened to be across the street, which was a big West Indian club on Empire Boulevard. So you had the best of both worlds. You had everything going on in the skate rink, and then the West Indians got busy over here too.
Buju right.
So, and you, as you know too, as I got to find out after I moved into Crown Heights and started getting my weight up in Crown Heights, At Ease, King at Ease is a big sound that comes
John,
from over
come
there
on.
on St. John's and Schenectady over there. So okay,
Stay going to when they clashes.
so Crown Heights in the 90s was the place to be. You know, you had the cats from Brownsville, Flatbush. You got you got the Brownsville, Crown Heights, the Bed-Stuy cats. Everybody coming to the skate rink.
Yeah, everybody went to the skate. Come on.
So
you know the low guy. Dudes got legendary. Moments. You know what I mean? Dudes went there with the silk crowns and all that. OGO. Listen, dudes got legendary stories. The lows in there too. The skate.
And it's
Empire
real.
Skate Rink. Listen, it was legendary joints.
Facts. You Dark knows exactly what he's talking about. He was there, but you might have heard a lot about those stories, but really and truly, those are some of the most essence moments. That skate rink was where the place where you would literally go and see the who was who, and you know. So it was definitely a moment for me, and being right there was great. So when I moved from New York Avenue and started chilling uptown, I mean in Crown Heights, Sullivan between Nostrand and Rogers is where I landed. And it couldn't have been no better. Sullivan Park, Big Cat, rest in peace, the legendary Big Cat, who grew up on Sullivan and then migrated to FA.
Big Cat.
Rest in peace, Big Cat. And then Big Cat went on to carry, working with Funkmaster Flex, and then blew up with Little John, and then blew up and blew up. So he worked with Mike Burrell and Kenny also, Zine's brother. So
Cat was getting around. He was getting around. He was doing his 1-2.
So wow, what a blessing to move to this block, and the block had a lot of pop and a lot of stuff going on. And so those are my stomping grounds that really shaped. And I gotta give a shout out to 46 between Church and Linden also. That's home too. That's home. The 40s. But so you go around there, my name ring bells over in those areas.
That's who you was at. So what school you went to? Everybody got their legendary school.
Right.
You went
right. Tilden. I had to go to Tilden, and the metal detectors and stuff in Tilden was like a half an hour to get into the school. I went to Tilden in '92 and around that area in that era. I started high school in '89, and by the time I got to Tilden, getting into school and stuff like that, because I went down south to play ball for a little while. My parents had moved down to Florida in '88, but I was like, no way, I ain't going. So I ended up staying in New York and getting my weight up for the beginning of the '90s. But then, of course, basketball started calling. Right, high school started 89, 90, and basketball started calling cats down south. My man David, my man Jesse Nunez from Uptown, they telling me, yo, come down here, you can get on. So we started running with the basketball team, and there was no going back to New York at the time. I wanted to be a basketball player. I took all my boosting skill, all my New York, everything, and said, I'm going to do this down here. That didn't work. Music always was calling me. In 1991, I had a cousin who got a deal with Elektra Records to make beats. And the moment he got that deal, it was like, yo, you got to come back to New York for this to work.
Because you got some potential too. Because he knew you was rhyming at that time?
Yeah, absolutely. I left New York City since, my parents moved in '88. So I ended up staying with family. And in order to stay in New York, you have to have a reason. What's your reason? Well, I want to do music and I want to do... I had a lot of older cousins that were in the game. And my parents allowed me to stay for a little while. But when high school started, I had to have something. I had to be somewhere. So I went back down to Florida.
Because you from the Caribbean. And the Caribbean parents, honestly, they're not going to have their kids just doing nothing.
Thank you.
During the summertime, no matter what. Because I'm with Sheila right now, a Haitian woman. And every summer since these kids was...
we got something planned for them.
They in camps.
That's right.
They in daycare, summer camps. They doing something where it's motivating their mind, it's structuring their mind and something. It's not just stopping at when school is over. You just home and you doing nothing, and you just home, waking up, scratching your butt, just saying, okay, what's for breakfast? My mommy got to go to work. Now you just there doing nothing.
Facts.
It's not that. It's you get out and you're going to go do something. We're going to stimulate your mind the best we can up until, like you said, high school and all that. Now when you get to that, now get out there and see if you get a job or something.
See if you can make something happen.
Make something happen during these summer times, because you're not just going to be doing nothing.
Nah.
You're not here. But yeah, that
was beautiful. That's exactly the same thing. And those parents like y'all y'all and me, I do the same thing. Who keep your kids occupied and keep them into other things, you could better keep them out of trouble. You know, you open their imaginations up and stuff like that. So that's what happened with me. That going to Florida was excellent because it did open up my eyes to the world was, because at that time in New York, from the 1988 to, you know, the early throw your guns in the air, Onyx, you know, right at all of that, it was very rough, dark. You know, you was getting nothing. You getting chased home.
Yeah, it was time. Those are the times.
We chasing people chasing us. That's what the streets was.
Taking, you know what I mean?
Chances. So your parents was happy to get you away from that. So I moved there. Shout out to OHS, Osceola High School. It's very, very well known in the South. It has a big tournament down there for years. A great Florida basketball shootout tournament. A lot of the great ones played in. I did that. Yeah. Came back to New York. When I came back to New York in '91, because my cousin caught that deal and said, come back and do this. My cousin Kurt was already on his job. He was down with a lot of people. You know, shout out my boy Big Mo. Here's where I really started running with LoLifes. Got affiliated and everything. So came back to get into the game. By that time, LoLifes was really in everything, you know, like, you know, you heard about the Thurston House, the Skis, USA with G. George's, you know, Ralphie's Kids, everything. I'm like, yes. So my cousin happened to be affiliated with all of that, introduced me to Big Mo. And Big Mo he was running with Big Squash. At the time, both of them young, but they both older than me.
Squash.
Shout out to Big BrickFace.
BrickFace Clothing, man. Go out. www.brickfaceclothing.com, man. He got the clothing. He got the mic tees.
BrickFace Clothing. Love it. One of the best to ever do it. That's where it all started for me right there. When I ran with Big Mo, and Big Mo brought me around and brought me up on the Johns and brought me everywhere. Took me to the Lyricist Lounge. Took me to Sharky's, you know, the Shark Bar. That was it. I got familiar with who Ralphie's Kids was. I was already boosting, like I said in my song. I'm a little Flatbush kid, you know. We was already running up in the local, up the back in the little, you know, church.
Showing y'all little 1-2s here and there, you know.
But we wasn't on that level of the G. Georges and the Ralphie's Kids when I heard about these cats and saw the leathers and... My goodness, I never seen so many Sherlins in my life. I'm like, but jackets were...
Leather rushes? Oh, man. That's beautiful.
Jackets were heavy back then. To see cats have 5 jackets, 5 leathers.
Dudes running around going selling garbage bag full of leathers at spots. Yo, we got leathers. We got leathers.
On the Ave. You go up on the Ave like before school or something like that, and they out on the Ave like, yo, what you need? So... the dopest thing that ever happened. I was already boosting when I saw these cats. It was like a corporation. I was like, okay. Remember, I'm a shorty. I just in high school still. I'm like, yo, I can make some money with this. And then get on through, because LoLifes got a buzz, everything. Perfect. Shout out to Big Mo, man, because he's a stand-up dude. He wasn't just only about, you know, getting some money for some clothes and stuff. He saw the whole picture for me. So he helped shape the fact that I wasn't going to just be some petty thief or something like that. I was going to use this money to get on, and once you get on, then, you know, you put your peoples on and you transition into being a businessman. So shout out to Big Mo for that. And as you know, Big Mo was dancing, he was in the business, he was working with Beast, who was down with White Club. He was in the business. And with Prince. Prance Low. So I was there to see
all that,
actually, like, I saw Rudy Low. I saw the first Rudy Low video. You know what I'm saying? Rudy Low rhyming the cookie for the first time. I said, whoa, all right, this is moving. Then I seen Prance Low on Video Music Box. You know what I'm saying? With the video and everything. I said, wow, all right. So, you know, there's room for us. We coming. And that's how I got.
So now you come back to New York,
right?
You mess with your cousin with the beats and all that. You know what I mean? You introduce by Mo with the low and all that into the game. You're like, okay, I see what's going on with the coach over here. Get with that, what's going on there. But now, when did you start really rhyming? When you say, okay, let me start rhyming, because your cousin, you say with the beats, right? did he get the when you first came to New York, you start rhyming on beats with him, and then you start recognizing the Low, or did you just come down just to help him out with the beats and just like, you know what I mean, just see if you can get that off the ground first and then start rhyming?
Right. I definitely, he and I always had a dream to rhyme. His older brother was a DJ, so we were organized. We, you know, you got to, Special Ed say he was the youngest in charge at that time too, right?
Yeah.
So young cats, we were trying to be businesses. I remember Twin Low, I remember Dark Man Low, y'all 12 and 13 years old. We had this kind of mentality that in those eras, you had some kids that had those mentalities that they were grown beyond their age. They just didn't have the body or the experience, but we knew when we wanted to do something and we were serious. And music was something I was very serious about.
And that was it.
So when I got back here, what helped with that was on Sullivan itself, I ran into a team, the DPS crew, Dead Poet Society crew. Shout out to my boy Grim Aaron and them. Ty Bourne, you know, they were focused themselves straight on music, infiltrated the game. Like I said, Big Cap was on the block. So now I got a chance to really hone in on my music. Aaron and them had a studio around the corner on Montgomery and allowed me to record in the studio also.
Okay.
So I was getting my music game tight. Then I had LP on the block. Getting my gear right, getting my money right, because in those days, ain't no temp agency. You had to get it how you living.
Now LP, let them know what LP.
Low pros, that's my low profile family. Shout out to Big L, shout out to Paris, locked up right now, doing the joint. Hold your head, he's good. You know, Paris, he's well known. Shout out to Bourne, shout out to Zeem Low, Big L, shout out to Mai Kai, you know. Shout out to original females that was down with us like Jasmine, you know what I'm saying? Kasai, you know, Cassia, Kendra, Ina, Toya, you know. Shout out to the whole crew that was out there really putting in that work. And those people showed me how to live, how to eat.
Be out there, no, okay.
And just because people was, it was grimy. It was grimy.
Yeah.
You know, I step off that block and somebody don't know my face. If I don't have my box cut, if I don't have my tutu on me right now, it's a problem. I got to go with the hands. We got to do something. Something got to shake. You know what I'm saying?
Test.
Right. And that's no question. It don't matter who you are. So that also kept me saying, all right, let me stay with this music thing because the element of, you know what I'm saying, danger is out there.
Out there.
So the music thing helped. All that element of danger and shit helps shape that fucking music shit. You got to make a decision. You going to be going to jail every week or you going to do something with your life?
Something else. Yep.
All right. And just the boosting and stealing the clothes was like a job. It wasn't no play shit with that. When niggas say, yo, we meeting at 3 o'clock at Franklin, if you don't get there by 3 o'clock, niggas is gone and getting that money.
Going out. You know how it is.
And you learn that, like, yo, that's why people think, when we have these little unwritten rules like, you know, mean what you say and say what you mean. If Low Vox says I'm coming through to a party and I don't make it, that's a smear on me. You got to mean what you say. You better make them courtesy calls and say, look, I can't make it or whatever because we know that to be business. 3 o'clock we meet in here, business. It's pushing out. So that's what that comes.
No doubt. So now...
The music started popping up on Sullivan. I'm starting to meet cats now.
Starting to meet people.
Starting to meet people through Mo. This shit look like it's gonna happen.
Okay.
Hold on, I meet people. I can meet this one. My man, then Kurt introduced me to a producer now who live on Washington Ave and Fulton. And on the same block with the manager for Mobb Deep and Primo. Primo and them live down the block not too far. Yeah. So that's where a lot of stuff started shaping up too. Right? So Primo on the block, my man live on Washington Avenue. Biggie comes through and checks him. It's a nice little popping area right there. Just the Lord just blessing me with shit. Adam Baum, shout out to Adam Baum. He was serious about his beats trying to get on. Kurt put me in, like, I got a serious MC for you. Let's work. Start meeting more people now. So now we put together a demo, submitted to Elektra Records. through my cousin who had already was telling me to come the first time. Said come through, so I didn't have to use him for everything. I started making my own networks and shit. He liked it. Yeah, cool. Boom. Put the thing together. He took it to Elektra Records. Shout out to Sylvia Roan. Shout out to Merlin Bob. They say, yo, we working with him. Bring him back. And that's where the story get interesting right there. That's where life start taking turns, and but I had a deal presented to me, and so that's what lets me know that I could have done this, I could do this, and this is why we got to ULL now.
So you go through that, but now, okay, you go through that, you say the deals, we all know how the industry is. Some things happen, dudes be doing what they do, and then some people promise you things, and some things don't fall through. Some dudes tell you them little, wish tickets and all that, wolf tickets, and you go through that situation or whatever. But as long as you keep grinding, you keep doing what you need to do, you definitely gonna be heard. That's why you definitely need people behind you, supporting you and pushing you. So when other people thinking that, oh, I don't know, them other people showing them, we know he popping, yeah, he nice, mess with him because we support him, we show him love. You know what I'm saying? But now you over there doing your 1-2. So now, when what time was it? When did you really start coming to, like, I guess, the low events and really getting entwined with the people? Because, like I said, when I first met you through Ski.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So that's what I want to know now. When did you intertwine with that situation?
Perfect.
That you said, you found out there was an event going on,
right.
Or you found out something was up, and you just came and then you start meeting brothers, and Ski was the first person you met? I mean, how was it?
Right. Well, I always was keeping my ear, because we original Low Post, so we come from, so everybody in our circle is still keeping in contact with everybody. So I know that they're doing a couple of events. At the time, I believe it was MySpace. Before Facebook, there was some sort of social media we used to go on. I believe it was MySpace. Everybody had a MySpace, and you see pictures. This is early 2001, 2, 3, around that time. And you would see these group pictures of the RLPC cats and IAC cats, and around 2002 and 3, I start seeing a lot of pictures where cats is coming back together and doing their thing. I said, all right, they keep this up, I might have to come back too myself. So I was over here doing my Low Vox sharp 1-2 step to get my company up and continue what I was doing, and my eye was still open for what was going on. What had happened was I was working at Viacom, and I was one of my supervisors, people that I'm cool with, they got upped and they was gonna get more projects. So they was like, they knew how passionate I was about my low life and my hip hop and everything. And it was after I worked on the Yo MTV Raps documentary. I worked on the Yo MTV Raps documentary, and that brought up a lot of nostalgic stuff. This Fab Five Freddy came to do the interviews, and Lover, the great Rakim came, and Kane, and EPMD, and all that brought up all that old 1988, 1990s great era stuff. And I said, I watched how they did it, and I said, you know what? I started searching. Is there anything about the LoLifes? Does anybody know about us and what we was doing back in the days? On a professional level, you know what I'm saying? A documented medium. There wasn't, dog. There wasn't nothing. There were a lot of stuff on YouTube, but there was nothing on a major market, right? A major channel. So I said, wow, I could help with this. I could help the brothers get their name out there, and I could also help myself move up in Viacom. I was working at VH1 Rock Docs at the time, right? Rock Docs for Miss Lauren Lazen, right? She's a legend in the game too. She did a lot of work. Look her up. That helped propel me to there. And how I got there was my boy P, who's LP also. He had moved uptown and was running with a crew called Familiar Faces. Shout out to Black, Ock. Shout out to my crew. Roy, Big Roy from the Macoons. Very important that I mention them, because the transition after Low Vox with all the early stuff went straight with them. And because me and my boy P grew up in LP together, we wanted to make sure we kept that correlation going. So he introduced me to my peoples up at Viacom. He was hanging uptown with the Rucker. Shout out to my boy Kareem Reed, who's a basketball player in the Rucker in the mid-2000s. He was tearing shit up, him and TP.
Yeah, they was definitely good at the Ruck at that time. Them dudes was definitely doing their thing.
Yep. Black and P, so they was running with Dame Dash. Dame Dash had everything locked up. He had an EBC tournament going on with Mousy and them up there. And my boy P was like, you still got to keep your ear to the street. You got to come up here and shake hands and make sure you know people. We running with Dame and the crew. Come up here with that Brooklyn, you know, that low flavor, and meet these uptown cats. I did. That was a perfect thing to do. That's how I got the Viacom job. Hanging around and doing what I do. And they say, yo, this kid is like a hip-hop historian. When we do something, we going to call you in. They called me on the Yo MTV Raps. Boom, I saw how they did documentaries. And I said, wow, the same way they called up, you know what I'm saying, Rakim and all these other legends and got them together to tell this one story. I said, wow, I could call up all the legends from Low Life and tell this one story. So I did. I said, that's how I got to Ski. I went searching for Ski.
Yeah, trying to find somebody, an OG that's connected in the ground, the roots, and say, you know what, let me get with him and see where, if I can get this story and this documentary going, because the brothers need to be heard about. Yeah. And
he was the perfect person to seek out. He just happened to be the perfect person to seek out. And I'll tell you how, how I got to see him that day too, because it's a great joke. But Ski was the catalyst who said, yo, I like what you're talking. I see what you're saying, and I can help you out. And that was it. He told me to meet him at the barbecue, and that was the first barbecue that I came to and saw everybody. I also had called Big Mo. Told Big Mo my plans to do whatever, and so he had called Prance and said, Prance, Low coming through. Look out for him, because me and Prance didn't know each other like that. We're family, but we didn't run in the same circles, right? So that was my way to be introduced to him. And I came
all type of ways.
And I came to the Low Life barbecue. And
what year was that? What barbecue was that?
That had to be 2010, around there on 9.
Well, okay.
Right. Wait, no, that had to be after that. That had to be around 2012 or 13, because it's been about 5 years. I've been about 2 years with ULL, right? 2-3 years only with ULL.
Yeah, it's been 3 years.
And we're in 2019 right now, right? So take that back to 2017 or something, when I started with ULL. And prior to that, I came to about 4. It was like 4 before that. So 2013, around that time, I went to the first Low Life barbecue. And saw everybody. At that time, the barbecue was still like really packed and flooded. A lot of OGs were coming out to that event, and it was perfect timing. And that's how I got to meet everybody. I seen everybody, and a lot of faces you knew from back in the days. You know, from pictures and stuff, but you never got the chance to build with nobody.
You start building like, okay. Then you start seeing who they are, what they're about.
I seen you in many pictures, because Twin Low, shout out to Twin Low. Twin Low was running with cats on my block. You know, in those days when you start getting money, you getting money in the city. When you see certain people getting money like you in the city, you start linking up.
Okay, yo, let's go. And then y'all find out, where you from? Oh, I'm from. Oh, where we from? Oh, I know the people over here. All right, cool. They think, because people, everybody was going to different high schools and different communities, so everybody was knowing certain people, and it's just so crazy as it is that way. Whereas real
recognize real. It's true.
Or it's just money recognize money. Whereas people notice you're getting money,
and how you moving. Look at this little cat. You see how they moving smart?
So he's little cats. Yo, he's looking fly. Yo, let me see what's up. Either they trying to rob you, or they just trying to get down with you to get money with you. So it was just different sides of the coin back then. But man, yo.
So shout out to Twin and his brother, yo.
Yeah, twins. Yeah, both
they
was twins.
Getting money at a young age.
Those are my little boys. I brought them because I brought them to the John.
Facts.
I brought them on the John. That's my boys. You know what I'm saying? Because I met them with a friend that I knew in school, and them two in PR. You know what I mean?
Shout out to PR,
you know what I'm saying? They was over there on Rochester, Sterling, and Rochester and Park Place. You know what I mean? Doing they 1-2 before I brought them over. But yeah, man, but that's
how I got to the barbecue. But that's not how I got to ULL.
No, that's what we about to get
Stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
We wasn't chasing you, we had a taping too. We came through to do our 1-2 thing. Politics as usual.